Dogs save lives. Now you may be sitting here thinking, dogs don't save lives, but they do. TAILS program is proof that dogs save lives and that human lives are saved every single day. TAILS is an acronym. It stands for Teaching Animals and Inmates Life Skills. Picture in your mind an animal shelter filled with cages. There's a dog in every single cage. Some dogs are nice. Some dogs are not so nice. Some bite, some bark, some have no idea how to interact in society. Now let's look at people who've lost their way, people that metaphorically bite, bark, people that have been written off by the outside world and are in a prison. They're people that don't know how to interact in society. TAILS brings the inmates and the dogs together in this program. Everybody deserves a second chance, and TAILS provides that second chance. Now, in the fall of 2015, TAILS was in trouble. It was broken. Dogs needed to eat. There was no food. Dogs needed medical care. There was no money for medical care. We knew the potential that the TAILS program had, so we agreed to take over the program. Now, as much as we knew how much potential the program had, we also knew we had to be realistic. So we chose partners. We chose partners carefully. We looked for partners that had similar ideas and beliefs as we did, partners that had resources that we didn't have. Fortunately, 2 animal welfare organizations stepped up and agreed to support TAILS financially. The inmates and the dogs had their short-term solution for the TAILS program. Again, we chose partners extremely carefully. We were picky. Dogs in the TAILS program go through a very specialized assessment process. The assessment was written by a canine expert. We do this to ensure that the dogs are a good match for the people. Once the dogs pass the assessment, they go to prison. This is where their journey begins. Every day, 9,000 animals are killed in shelters across the United States. The 3 main reasons that they end up in shelters are training and behavior related. Those 3 issues are resolved through the TAILS program. Sometimes all dogs need are a second chance, just like sometimes all people need are a second chance. Once the dogs pass their assessment and go into the program, then we look at our inmates. The inmates go through a very exhaustive process. They have to apply to be a part, and there's a waiting list at every single institution that we have TAILS through. They apply to be a part. There are certain things that will disqualify them from participation. Violent crimes, domestic violence are an automatic DQ. DQ, not Dairy Queen, but disqualification, right? Also, any behavior issues or certain behavior issues while they're in the prison would disqualify them from the program as well. The inmates receive training prior to them receiving their dogs. They go into a classroom. They learn what to expect from their dog, and they learn what we expect from them. Once they receive that training, they meet their dog. There are 2.5 million people in the prison system across the United States. 650,000 ex-offenders are released every single day. Why wouldn't we teach them the skills that they need to be successful in society? Skills like empathy, responsibility, teamwork, resolving issues without violence. These are all issues that TAILS resolves for the inmates. We teach them how to be better members of society. Dogs in shelters are like kids in daycare. Sometimes they run amok, right? So sometimes they lack proper supervision. They don't know how to interact. It might be something as simple as learning how not to jump on a table or jump on people. TAILS teaches these dogs those skills, and the inmates are an integral part of teaching the dogs the skills that they need to survive. The dogs are immersed into an area where they receive love, they receive care. They're in the prison to learn how to survive. These are dogs that are at risk of euthanasia. We don't take dogs that are safe. We take dogs that need our help the most. So these are dogs on death's door, literally, that we take. This program saves souls. I've seen dogs so scared that they won't move. I've taken them out of their kennels and moved them out because they couldn't get out. They were so paralyzed with fear. These same dogs, once they go through the program, are confident, they're happy, their tails are up, their heads are up. Same thing with the inmates. We've seen inmates go from having a chip on their shoulders to being loving, happy people. One such inmate, whose name we'll call John, wrote a letter recently and stated that he hated the world when he first got into the prison system. And I'll quote, "Unbeknownst to me, a dog would change my life. He taught me how to be a loving, happy person. It is because of this dog that my transformation began, and I'm the man I am today." He's out of prison and he's doing really well. And he credits that to one dog. Pretty good. Pretty good. So a story that I want to bring up is a particular dog. It is heartbreaking to know of a dog that's been abused. Sugar Mama, there she is. She was rescued from a dogfighting ring. And she needed extensive spinal surgery. She had 2 herniated discs in her spine and had to be operated on by a neurologist. It was a very expensive and extensive surgery, but she needed it to physically survive. She needed her trainer to emotionally survive. After Sugar Mama had her surgery and her recovery, we chose to put her in the TAILS program. It was the right decision. It was the only decision. Sugar Mama met her trainer, Joe, in the prison. Now, Joe was a hardened criminal. He'd been in the prison system for 15 years. 15 years. And this is Joe, by the way. 15 years in the system, and Joe had never known love until he met his dog. Joe decided that if this dog could forgive everything that happened to her and be happy and trusting, then so could Joe. In December, Joe will leave the prison. He's taking, I'm gonna cry. He's taking his dog with him. I'll never forget when he asked me about adopting her. He said, with tears in his eyes, "Miss Jen, Sugar Mama changed my life. She's the first time I felt love. Please let me take her with me. I will love her forever." Of course, I said yes. And by the way, Sugar Mama is the most spoiled dog on the face of the earth, I promise you. I have to tell him not to carry her everywhere. But he gets out in December, and his dog will be going with him after 15 years. Joe became the person that his dog thought he was. And that's the chance that we give to inmates. They get to be the person that their dog thinks they are. You know, for a lot of these guys, they've never known love before. They've never known how to care for another individual. They've never learned responsibility, teamwork. When a dog goes into TAILS, they're assigned 2 inmates to take care of the dog. This builds teamwork amongst the inmates. The 2 inmates are responsible for bathing, feeding, caring, and training for their dog. So they are everything from A to Z. The dogs live in the prisons. It's 24/7. This is cohabitation. This is marriage. This is whatever you want to call it when you're with someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's taught the inmates and the dogs the skills they need to have that second chance. In the prisons, one of the things that we've seen is an increase in teamwork, a decrease in violence. So in dorms and wings and wards that house the TAILS program, The incidents of violence in those particular areas are much lower than in other areas of the prison. That's how effective TAILS is. Once the dogs go through the program, it's an 8-week program. At the end, the dogs have to pass a practical exam. So we hold the dogs accountable. We also hold the inmates accountable. They have to pass a written exam. After that's done, we have graduation ceremonies at the prisons. And there are shelter directors that come in from the animal shelters, and then they speak. There are lots of guests that come in. In some prisons, they allow friends and families of the inmates to come in and attend the graduation. The inmates receive a certificate of completion for the training, and the dogs receive either a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD in training. I kid you not. And it's a very competitive training. Everybody wants their dog to be the best, right? So at the graduations, there are lots of guests. Everybody smiles, everybody cheers, because everybody knows lives are being saved. Let me go back to Sherm. It's my favorite picture. So once the dogs get out of the program, they're adopted into homes. And the inmates, if they're still in the prison system, they can have another dog. So the process continues. I've seen hardened criminals actually cry when their dog leaves the building. Even though it's for a good reason, right? To go into a home, they're still very upset. So we don't waste any time bringing dogs in for the next round so that they can help even more dogs. So if you remember one thing from my talk today, please remember this. You know, we took on a program, we took a leap of faith with a program that we didn't know whether we could find the funding or find the support that we needed to do it, but we did it because we had passion. Anybody can accomplish anything if you've got the passion to do it, but you also need realism, right? You can have all the passion in the world, you have to know who to align yourself with in order to achieve that goal. Everybody needs money, right? But we don't need a lot. We need enough to get by, but we don't need a lot. What we need more of in the world is passion. Passion is key, but also to be realistic with what you're trying to do. But you can accomplish anything you want if you've got the passion to do it. Look, we worry every single day about our TAILS program. We worry about where we're going to get the money to fund it. We worry about the inmates. We worry about the dogs. But we continue to do it because we see the difference that it makes and we have the passion to do it. You can do the same thing. Anybody can write a check. It takes a lot more to care and to be passionate and to walk the walk. I encourage you to take that chance, to follow your passion, and to be realistic about it as well. Today, over 200 dogs, or close to 200 dogs, have graduated from the TAILS program this year alone. We've impacted over 200 inmates with no dog left behind. We have plans to continue to expand the program. Our passion is what drives us every single day. Our missions are accomplished, and they're accomplished one inmate and one dog at a time. Thank you.